Hello, activists, and welcome to another edition of The Accidental Activist. I am chandamasta, the serious blonde, and today we're going to take a few deep dives down a few topics that people have asked me to cover in the last few days. We're going to cover COVID and what's going on in the world right now, and we're also going to take a look at the Seattle Chop or Chaz. However you want to, whatever you want to call it. It's been called different things. But first, I want to say hi to my engineer and my guest tonight, Oz Lefebvre.
Hey, Chanda, what's going on? I see Vermont is represented here tonight again. Al Walski, yeah, Al.
Yay.
We were talking about you today, Al, and it was all good stuff. It was all good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, and Curious 49, hello. So take it away, Chanda.
Well, first off, COVID kind of just went away, right? Like we locked down and everybody just stopped working. 40 million people lost their jobs. Everybody's losing their health care. But, all of a sudden it was just lifted and gone. Beaches are open. You can go back out. You see all the protesters out there. You can't take my freedoms and my liberties away. So I'm not putting a mask on. We saw this over and over. But what we're seeing now in the last 5 days is enormous spikes across the country of infections. And it's I think what we're witnessing right at this moment is the beginning of a major second wave. If you follow the Spanish flu and how it circled the planet twice in 1918 to 1920, that the second wave was much, much more severe than the first wave. And, I hate to say it, I think that's what we're going to be seeing in the next few months. But I got some great clips I want to break down. This is ACT TV. I'm not sure the commentator on this, but I really like him. He seems to be on point. So if you want to roll this one, Oz.
Okay. Rolling, right.
Watch this, and then we'll discuss.
At a commissioners' meeting in Florida's Palm Beach County, anger erupted after a unanimous vote to make masks mandatory. This turned downright ugly. Here was the scene.
You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people. It literally is killing people. And we the people are waking up, and we know what citizen's arrest is, because citizen's arrests are already happening. Okay? And every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity.
The problem with humanity today is ignorance, arrogance, and apathy. Keep taking the road of least resistance. Keep listening to the TV brainwashing you from birth.
And they want to throw God's wonderful breathing system out the door. You're all turning your backs on it.
I really have many question marks about your degrees and what you really know. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't think that you are worthy of your credentials. And I would ask suggestively that you go back to school and get educated.
Okay, you can cut it there.
What the hell was
There's
that?
so much crazy to unpack in that clip. And, so not that I totally disagree with a lot of what they're saying about the propaganda and not listening to the TV, but they are saying this to medical professionals. These people have gone to school. They've taken years and years of training and residency. And, these women, what if they watched a couple of days of YouTube clips, and now all of a sudden they're experts in, wearing masks and the dangers of not wearing a mask.
Yeah, what the hell is that? Did I hear some religious people in there saying something? Or what?
Well, yeah, it's. I want to say it's Palmdale, Florida, and the city council, promptly voted and unanimously to make face masks mandatory. Washington State just went back on a mandatory face mask. It's not lockdown, but all workers are mandated to wear a face mask now. So if you're not going to comply and have your employees wear face masks, then our governor Inslee says that there is a fine, and they won't be out policing our streets. It's not the sheriff's job to come out and make sure that you have a mask on, so they won't arrest you for that. But what they will do is, if you walk into a store that's requiring everybody to wear a face mask and you flat refuse to wear a face mask, well, then you could be arrested for trespassing. But we see everybody with these their medical disclaimer cards, right? Oh, I can't wear a face mask.
Well, yeah,
'cause I
oxygen,
can't
whatever.
breathe. Yeah, it cuts my oxygen down. And we're going to get to that. I'm going to break that down for you about the true dangers of, low oxygen levels because of a face mask. But I know there's a lot of controversy and even in our progressive movement because so many people, we are awake. We do understand that there is media propaganda and that, we can't just trust what the TV is telling us. And especially in light of how much the Trump administration has fucked this up. I mean, we had Fauci flat lie to us, right? Tell us we didn't need to wear a mask just 2 months ago.
Yeah, he did, and it was all the above reasons why he did. So I just don't know if Inslee's going to be able to enforce this. I don't think it's legal. Is it legal? No, I don't know.
It is. From what my research says, it is legal. He can put a law out there. But whether the local sheriffs want to enforce it is really on them. But from my take on it, the sheriffs on the west side of the state are more like, well, if you don't comply and you become a problem, we'll get you for trespassing or whatnot. The sheriffs on the east side of the state are like, F that, we're not enforcing this. They get to pick and choose what laws that they enforce.
Can they call in blue on those days when they run into somebody they want to give them a
Call
big
in
ticket
blue.
for? Call in blue. I don't know. Al's got a big question here. You want to read that?
My
Shannon?
question about mask is if you could cough and sneeze into it, will it develop with the development of a virus will be accelerating because you are rebreathing the virus as long as you have the mask on? Yeah, that's a good question, Al. And see, here's the thing. So I grew up in an ER. My mom was an ER nurse, trauma room nurse. And, the reason that doctors and nurses wear masks is not to keep themselves from getting sick. It's never to try to stop a virus from coming through that mask, because we've been told a billion times that it doesn't matter. A virus can come through that mask. They're micro. So it's more about keeping other people safe. It's about not giving your germs and your disease to somebody else, the outward, not the inward. So wearing a mask is more about protecting other people. My husband had a heart attack just 6 months ago, right? So, and he's a diabetic. So he's got all these different factors that we hear about.
Yeah.
And so we wear masks and we wear gloves when we go out. And yeah, I kind of feel like, okay, I'm being forced to do this, but I also look at him and go, I have to do this because here's the thing. I really don't think a whole globe is lying to us. People are dying of this. We know they're dying of this. And I don't think France is making up. I don't think Italy's making up. It's questionable what China did know when they knew it. But I saw the videos coming out of China. I knew about COVID on December 28th. December 28th, I started getting videos because I follow a lot of podcasters and independent streamers out of China. They were sending me videos saying, look at this. And so by January 3rd, I was going to one of my best friends who's a doctor who works at the VA and saying, hey, did you know about this coming pandemic? That could be a pandemic. And she had no clue. The medical professionals were not talking about it in the United States. The facts don't lie. These people are dying, hundreds of thousands. Well, I think 100,000 people have died of it so far. We've seen 10 million cases. Just yesterday alone, 37,000 new cases in the United States, 37,000. We're seeing some states with rising so fast. Texas had 5,500 cases yesterday alone. They have 1,300 ICU beds and only 5 left. Only 5 less in all of Houston. So, and where is Trump's next big rally get together? Where was it? It was in Houston. I'm just going to, for my own safety and my own sanity, for one, I don't go out very much. I honestly, since January, I don't go do anything anymore. The last thing I really went to was the Bernie rally in February. I stay home because either way, I feel I'm scared if I have the mask on. I'm scared if I don't have the mask on.
Yeah, no, I get you. Joey and I, we have not gone out 5 times since March, and that's just been to get groceries. We don't go do anything. And, I think, when did they, maybe you can answer this, if not, maybe the chat, when did they actually say that they covered COVID actually starting to break out in this? Was it November?
Right. So there's a lot of controversy about when COVID started and where COVID started. So the first cases that were officially reported to the World Health Organization that they would accept as cases was until the first week of January, and they were in China. But we are seeing on multiple different levels via testing, via going back and look at medical records, that we think this was global and as far back as maybe August of last year. But really, there was cases popping up in October and November. And I personally think I had it in December. I ended up in the hospital twice. The shortness of breath was like nothing I'd ever experienced in my life. I literally thought I was dying, and it took me months to come out of the night sweats, the just body aches, and the fatigue. I was so tired. I remember in January and February, just like I couldn't even walk a block without being totally wiped out, exhausted. So I would be curious to see if I have the antibodies, and I'd be curious to see. And I told my story. I told my story to on my social media multiple times in the very beginning of COVID. And I'm not kidding. Hundreds of people commented back to me, "Oh my God, I had it in December. Oh my God, I had it in November."
Yeah, my brother. He swears to God he had it right after Christmas, and he had it for like weeks and weeks, well into March, because he just couldn't get over it, and he swears he had it, and he's 60. So yeah, again, if we had any exposure in my household, it would have been with my brother because we don't have anybody over here anymore. So then again,
right. And the way they don't have, I mean, this being a novid, is that what they call it? Meaning that it's new. They don't understand it at all. They don't know. They don't know if you build up antibodies, if you can't get it a second time. We've seen reports where people are getting it twice. We saw them out of China. We've seen them here in the United States.
And you're going to see them next week. You're going to see them next week because everything's spiking up. So
right. So they don't know. They don't know how it works. And, to say any different, they don't know. The doctors don't know, that I've been following.
I'm interested to see how this goes because we're on the precipice of not having, we're not going to have the sporting events, NASCAR's or baseball's 60 games now, I guess. So not that anybody gives a shit necessarily, but they're priming NFL to start. I don't believe it's going to start, especially with, what's going on, with their opening up. What are they calling it in Washington State? Now we're at phase 3.
Well, some
opening?
states are in phase. Okay, so Washington State has 3 different phases right now, 1, 2, and 3. Most of Western Washington is in phase 1, with some counties going into phase 3. I think your county is one that is actually in phase 3.
Yeah, it is because they didn't have everybody carted into the stalls to get into like Costco the other day. So they had everything back to normal. They weren't cleaning the damn baskets. They didn't have the greeters at the door wiping shit off. And I'm going, wait a second. Wait, how can this just switch, from being, doing that? So I question this phase 3, and I'm thinking that Inslee's going to have to kick it back. What do you think?
Well, and then on the other hand, the other coin of this is so many people saying, well, look at the states that are locked down that are so affected economically. They're all Democratic states with Democratic governors, which have something to gain by shutting their economies down because it hurts Trump and his bid for re-election, because everybody knows Trump's strong point is the economy.
Yeah, and that's it. And again, the $600 PPP is going to cut off the end of July, right?
The end of July.
This is why
there is a little talk about another stimulus, but at this point, so many of us are so far behind that even if they handed us 2 stimulus at once, most of us couldn't get caught up. How they think we're just going to roll out of this, on top of the fact that the second wave is coming. And I have a feeling by fall, we're really going to be seeing our hospitals over flooded. All of these field hospitals they built around the country 3-4 months ago, they've torn them down. So all of the emergency responses that they had in place for the big wave, because they think they stopped the big wave when they flattened the curve 3 months ago. But what's going to happen is that big wave's going to hit us in September and through November, and we don't have any of that infrastructure in place right now. I mean, they've talked about it, and I'm sure there's a lot more ventilators than there was 3 months ago, but I think we're in for the bad part of this that we don't even realize is coming.
No, I agree with you, and I hate to be negative about this stuff, but again, it's going to get worse before it gets better. I just think that's human nature. While we're waiting for Cheese Man's question to pop up,
I got a Cheese Man's question.
yeah, hold on 1 second. I want is this look work for me if I do this with my collar here? I'm just wondering.
Father Oz
Yeah,
is with us
Is that
tonight.
gonna be Father Oz? Does that work for me?
Yes,
Cheese,
Father Oz.
cheese. Hey, Brian, you know me. Is that my new look? Is with the priest collar thing going
Everybody
on?
knows he ain't no saint.
Yeah, I ain't no saint, so I was just playing around. See, this is how I amuse myself in the time of COVID, but I don't think it's going to work. So, anyway, Cheeseman's got a question here. Let's throw it up here on the screen.
Okay, so he says, I was listening to Professor Weinstein on Rogan's podcast, and he was saying there's evidence of this being a lab-evolved virus. Can you speak to that? Yeah, B, I do think that this came out of a lab. It was the Wuhan lab. And you can go and research that. There's a lot of good information. First they said the wet mark, but there was actually a family living in that wet mark that not a single one of them even got sick.
Yeah.
And so, that lab is what they call an onion layer lab, which means that they have 4 levels of contamination, level 4 being the worst. And they think that this virus was engineered. And, the scary part about this virus is when they break the virus down, it actually has some HIV type of.
What?
Yes. And that's what the scary part is they don't know if this is going to come back. If you get it in November, then a year later, do you still have it, or can it still rear its head? If you go deep into COVID, they don't know. They don't know. But yes, I absolutely believe it was engineered. And whether it got out intentionally, because some people want to blame it on the U.S., we wanted to start this war with China because we had the trade agreement going on. Or you could flip it and say that China,
Who funded the lab in Wuhan
we
Private?
did. And guess who worked that lab?
Who worked that lab?
Fauci.
Oh, Fauci, the liar and the medical guy, the guy that just lied on television and mea culpa the other day, said, yeah, we need to save those PPE masks for our first responders. So,
and it goes much deeper in that, because there was a scientist that was arrested out of Canada right at the beginning of this, who was literally smuggling samples out of the lab in her sock.
Samples of what? The virus?
Of the virus, yes.
What? How do you do that? How do they even get keened into checking her for this stuff? Because we're all going along, everything's fine, but they catch her smuggling. My bullshit detector's just blinking right now. What? Tell us about this.
Well, I didn't go deep into that one, or I haven't in a while, but yeah, that was 3 or 4 months ago. You can go find the information on it, along with a Harvard professor who was head of the freaking viruses. He got arrested for taking a huge payoff for this lab.
That I believe, yeah, absolutely. Al's got something up here.
We become more diligent about I lost it. If we become more diligent about tracking the garden variety flus, we would know how the flu travels and could develop strategies to control it. Absolutely. And I think that they do that. I mean, we did. Okay, so we did used to track these. We knew that there was a pandemic that could spur at any moment. So from the 90s into the 2000s, we had teams on the ground with the CDC that were tracking outbreaks, just like the movie Outbreak, right? They're going to come in. But here's the kicker. Between Obama and Trump, they pretty much disbanded all that, and they cut all the funding to it. So we weren't watching anymore. We weren't looking for any bad germs out there to be rising up, because, they just don't exist in their minds. So why look for them?
And that was Obama and Trump. It wasn't just Trump. It was
just
both
Trump.
of them.
It was Obama too.
Yeah. Okay. Because everybody's trying to fling everything at Dumpy. And as we said before, Obama's culpable in a lot of what's happening now. So I won't even go there. So
Well, and not to say that Dumpy has been, oh my God, he's been a fucking nightmare. I can't believe a pandemic hit us with the stupidest republic ever in the office. At least the Democrats understand the science behind it. And, that's what makes it hard within our movement, because you have so many people who are awake and they're truthers. So they understand that you can't trust the media. So they go to other sources, but these other sources aren't verified. When I'm telling you guys something, I'm not telling you because I watched it one time on a YouTube channel with some boo-boo's got 100,000 subscribers. I cross-reference all of my facts. I make sure that they are actual facts before they come out of my mouth. The gateway, is it true? Is it pertinent? And is it necessary? I just want people to understand that I will not stir you into, something that is a rabbit hole that is because there's a ton of rabbit holes down there. I could tell you all kinds of crazy shit that people think about COVID.
Yeah, and that's the thing with us. That's kind of our moniker is if something stinks and we're wrong, fucking tell us. We're just going to, okay, prove us wrong, please, because we do spend a lot of time vetting all this stuff. And if we don't, we say so right up front. Well, we kind of vetted this, but not so much. So Jilly's
I like this because, we need to talk about this. She says Fauci and WHO gave millions to Wuhan lab to continue research after Fort Detrick lab was shut down for violating hazardous waste protocol.
And who's who? Who's who funded by?
Yeah, who is the WHO funded by? Right now, their number one contributor is Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, right. And so I don't think that Trump was wrong to say we need to get the hell out of WHO. They are obviously a very corrupted entity. They don't answer to the United States, even though we give them a shit ton of funding. That one, we can't trust the WHO. And we knew that the first few weeks out of this pandemic. They were lying. They were bowing to China. And they keep repetitively bowing to China, there could have been more travel bans. There could have been more information put out. This could have affected our economy a hell of a lot less than it actually did the way it came through. Yeah, all the timing is kind of getting freaky here.
And so now some of our senators have decided that somebody needs to be responsible for the economic fallout of our country. So they held some Senate committee hearings yesterday, and I'm going to bore you and make you listen to a few of them.
Do you want to finish up with this ACT guy? You've still got a clip.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I still have.
Let's hear
what he has.
Yeah, this is short. This is 4:40 to 6:25. We cut this, and by the way, everybody, we do produce these shows ahead of time. We might cowboy them, but we still try. We still try. This is the rest of that. This guy, I think he's a movie star.
Trope that got started, of course, on the internet. So there are two random conditions that affect a very small portion of the population in a negative way, and you're talking about hypoxia and hypercapnia, which are essentially where your body gets starved for oxygen or you get too much carbon dioxide in your blood. So these are the memes that get passed around on Facebook explaining to people that if you wear a mask, you're going to die. Now, number one, masks don't kill you. And cloth masks and the standard non-N95 masks literally reduce your oxygen flow by like 3%. And there's absolutely no negative value from wearing them. N95 masks, yes, if you wear them for an extended period of time, they will cut off somewhere between 10 to 12% of your oxygen intake. Now, I will say that all across the world, for the last 100 years or so, there are a number of jobs and occupations where people are forced to wear a mask 4, 6, 8 hours at a clip. That would include nurses, doctors, surgeons, auto body repairmen, drywallers. These are all people who wear masks for hours at a time. Guess what? They're not getting hypoxia. They're not getting hypercapnia. The only people who get affected by this are people who have pre-existing respiratory conditions. So let's stop saying that wearing masks kill people. Now, again, much like the autism thing, people are going to point to like 0.0001% of the population who
Yeah, that's the cut on that. So
Yeah, I just thought that that was a great breakdown. You know, I have so many progressive friends that are pulling the ADA card, like, oh, I can't wear a mask, you know, I can't breathe. I get it. If you don't want to wear a mask, fine, don't wear a mask, but, you know, don't endanger other people. That's all I'm asking. If I'm going to go out and I'm going to go to a store, I'm going to have a mask on, I'm going to have gloves on until, you know, we hear that there's less cases developing in the United States. I think it's the smart move and staying home. You know, I'm not planning camping trips, but you know, I have millennial children who refuse to believe that this is even a thing. Like, you know, and how do you convince somebody when they are just dead set that this is propaganda, that this is made up, that, you know, it's not real? I don't know how you reach them.
I don't know how you reach them either. And this is why I say, you know, certainly maybe what Inslee's doing up here in Washington State by requiring a mask. Again, is it legal? Is it going to pass? Whatever. What I am saying is that, again, and we had this discussion on the dive on yesterday, I think, I'm wearing the mask to signal that I'm trying to keep my shit in my pie hole without infecting other people, per se. That's my signal. My mask is not an N95, but I've got a piece of that shop towel, that blue shop towel in it, which Tyler Vega told us about, because it keeps particles of 3 microns and above from going out so much, you know. And sure,
Yeah.
but the one thing about masks are, and Amber pointed this the other day, you can't clean them if they're reusable masks. You've got to either replace the filter or whatever. And if you do clean them, the material of the mask breaks down, right? And that was the big catching point. So,
Right.
you know, your mask, after you use it for however long you're going to use it for your personal use, you know, it's effectively, you can't clean it and start over. But they're coming out with these fancy masks now. I think I said John Ellis, he had a whole suit mask the other day. No, that was for bees. Never mind. Anyway, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready with fuckface here. And that's what we call Lindsey Graham, fuckface. We figured it
Yeah,
out.
that's we don't even call him Lindsey Graham. He's just fuckface.
He's just fuckface. You want me to run that clip?
Yesterday this was Senate committee hearings on the Foreign Sovereignty Act, and basically they're going. This is bipartisanship at its best. We can't get them to come together to actually help the people, but when they want to go after another country for lawsuits, boy, they sure come together. And all of the characters are on deck for this hearing yesterday. We had Feinstein, we had Cory Booker. I mean, all the good Ted Cruz. They had all of the heavy hitters there. So yeah, go ahead and roll this, and we're going to dissect this in a couple of different.
Yeah,
parts.
this is fun. I really enjoyed this. Talk about this is what the kind of crap you got representing you in D.C. So here we go.
Of Americans to bring lawsuits against a culprit Chinese government for the damage done to their family, to our economy, and to the psyche of the nation. The entire world feels played by China. The entire world needs to send a strong signal to the Chinese Communist Party that enough is enough. So what I am contemplating as chairman is having a markup on legislation that would amend the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act regarding Chinese culpability involving the coronavirus. Over 120,000 people have died, 40 million people have lost their job, and it's been a nightmare for our country and the world at large. We've used the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act in the past, amended it in the past, to go after people who have done harm to Americans and represent a threat to our way of life. I think the Chinese Communist Party, given their behavior over a long period of time, we should consider whether or not new tools are necessary to change behavior that is so devastating and deadly.
I think a lot of our friends would lose their shit listening to the snake oil salesman.
Right.
China
So,
bad, communist
this
China.
The same guy who thinks that it's a big fucking hoax.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's he doing? I mean, he needs new tools to go after China for something that he doesn't even believe is real.
Yeah, big talk for such a little man. I just, this guy, None of what he said there makes any sense as far as.
Oh, it gets better.
Yeah, it does get better. I'm going to cut this up to 1 minute and 32 seconds because I lost my other cut. But, or excuse me, 1 hour and 32. He's absurd. Now we're going to bring in a Democrat. Huh?
Cory Booker is next on deck.
Yeah, he's next on deck. Cory Booker. Are you kidding me, man? Here it is. I found it. Okay. Cory Booker. Now this is bipartisanship. Did you say at its worst, Chanda? This is bipartisanship.
Yeah,
Here we go. Let's listen to this idiot.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to focus my questions today to Professor Keitner, just to make it easier, if you don't mind. I just find it exciting that there is so much bipartisan sentiment agreement on just frankly how we know that China has been one of the malign forces on the planet in terms of their state-sponsored espionage in our country. They're forcing our companies to share technology and secrets. They're a corporate espionage. I can go on and on and on. Currency manipulation. China is a bad actor that is threatening in so many ways our economy. And now I want to talk to you a little bit about them threatening our health.
All right, here we go again.
Basically, he just rambles on for 5 minutes about how we need to ratify the Foreign Sovereignty Act so we can put pressure on China to cease and assist with these wet markets, right? Because the urban legend was that this came out of a wet mark because somebody had bats on top of other animals. And so, he talks about that, but then he goes into a big long spiel about how wonderful it is that they can do a bipartisan come together and have a united front against China about this. So basically what they want to do is they want to allow states, and there's 33 states, all Republican states, that have filed lawsuits against China. And if you followed the TPP and what would have been allowed in the TPP, basically a lot of what we were fighting was the fact that if we opened that door up to where we were suing other nations, guess what? Other nations can sue us and sue us individually. So basically that's where we're at again.
Thank you, Obama.
Right. So now we're going to get into the Attorney General from Mississippi and their lawsuit.
Oh, this is choice. We're going to dedicate this one to Cheese Man because I know how much he's going to like this woman in red. She's really great. Brian, pay attention.
About COVID-19. So we've heard a lot about retaliation lawsuits regarding COVID-19, and I've even heard some really insane statements coming out that their legislature would be willing to allow Chinese actors to, of course, then turn around and sue Americans. So can you talk to me a little bit about retaliation that China might have against your state?
There's
and
our
if
role
so,
model.
what can Congress do
I
to
call
help
her Mom.
alleviate that concern?
Thank you, Senator Ernst. I appreciate that. And it's an honor to serve as the first woman Attorney General and represent all Mississippians. Certainly, China is known for repetitive bad actions, and we have to hold them accountable. Certainly, they will probably come after all of us who are looking to do that. But we're prepared, and if we continue to hold them accountable, if we go for monetary damages and civil penalties, and we begin the deterrent process, they will stop. And it'll be a sign to all the nations that we will not tolerate that on behalf of Americans, Mississippians, everyone across our state, our many states. So I understand that there's that possibility, but we have to stand strong and we have to stand united.
Yeah, thank you so much, Attorney General.
So tell me something. I asked you this in the green room. Do all these politicians lick each other's ass in these meetings, or is it just me?
Oh, I think if you let this one play for another 20 seconds, you get, fuckface talking about how he would like to see them China take on Mississippi because he knows they whoop their ass.
Lindsay's showing us how big his balls aren't. Okay, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, here we go. Here's fuckface, tough guy.
General, my time has expired, but China has been a darn bad actor for a very
darn
long
bad
time.
actor.
And I think Americans are sick and tired of taking it in the shorts from China. So
the shorts.
it's about time that we stand
Shorts
up for
from you
ourselves and
guys.
let them know that we will not tolerate it
Shut
any
up,
longer.
Joni.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I don't like China's chances in Mississippi, given what I've heard from the Attorney General. Senator Blackburn.
This is the people that are representing our country.
Yeah. Look.
So collectively, what are they saying? What the fuck are they trying to do? Start World War III?
Yeah, tough guy. Let's get Vin Diesel in here and slap that little shit around a little bit.
You know, if you follow the like I said, when you follow the Spanish flu in 1918 to 1920, they call it the Spanish flu because Spain was the first ones to say, hey, we got a fucking problem here. Even though it started in the United States, they're pretty sure it started in Kansas. And
Kansas,
so
man.
Spain came forward and said, you know, oh, we got sick people, it's pandemic, it's a flu, whatever. Nobody sued Spain because they came out and announced it. You know, I don't think that we'll ever know how this virus got unleashed on the world. I don't think we'll ever know that. And how can we sue another country or attack another country for this if we don't have definitive proof on how it started?
No, the world overlords are the ones that have their finger on this scale. And, you know, if you want to blame somebody, blame the rich while we barbecue their ass. And I know we've got vegans in the room, but can you please make an exception when it comes to the
Hey,
rich?
vegans barbecue too.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
you can grill
I know,
veggies.
but these whatever. What
Huh, B, you can grill veggies.
Hey, I love grilled veggies. I think that's the way to go. And you know, I guess that's the upside from shopping now. If you're trying to get off of eating meat products and meat, go to the market these days. There isn't much left on the shelves, so it's a good time to get healthy and quit eating all that stuff.
Right. I love all the comments. People are saying, oh, Booker is owned by Big Pharma. Absolutely. He's
Absolutely.
100%. You know, and if you followed Cory Booker's career, in 2004, he did back then they did DVDs. It was like kind of like they followed him around doing a documentary on him living in the ghetto, and he was living on food stamps.
In
and
the ghetto.
He was truly helping his people. And I really bought into it. Like, oh my God, this is going to be the first black man ever elected, you know, as president. And well, okay, Obama came out of nowhere and wiped him out. But boy, Booker sure has been a disappointment for most of us who really were invested in his career.
Well, just his posturing in front of all those scumbags there. I would go in there, I'd slap my ass in that chair, and I'd say, this is the way it's going to be. This is my view. I'm representing the people, not you fuckheads. So let's move right along,
Right.
call it the way it is. And that's what we need. We got to quit this. What's this what do they call this? Civil discourse. I'm ready for some uncivil discourse with these people. So let's just let's push along before I get my soapbox lit on fire.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap up on COVID. You guys, COVID, you know what? There can't be that many scientists in the. It's just like the anti-vaxxer type thing, you know. Science tells us it's there. They, you know, wear your mask, cover up, wash your hands. It hasn't gone away. It's just going to get worse.
Yeah, it is. It is, and we're seeing the spikes now. And you know, one interesting happenstance right now. Usually, my area, I'm in the Olympia area. So if you want missile coordinates, I'll just let me know in the chat, and I'll send them to my house. You can drone me. But the weather, the temperatures here, like in 2015, right now it started breaking 100 for days, and then by the 4th of July, it was like 111 outside. We just broke 81 today. I think it was 85 a couple of days ago, but now we're going back down into the low 70s and the 60s. So when they talk about, you know, the heat, you know, killing some of this, you know, we're not even getting to that point. I mean, it's they like it between what
Look
temperature?
at Brazil.
50. Yeah. I mean, what the hell?
How hot is it there? And they're having I think they have the worst out of every country right now.
Yeah, so don't count on cooking it out unless you live in Arizona or Texas or something like that. And even
Arizona is a hot spot. Texas is a hot spot. All of these places right now that didn't lock down, that didn't enforce some kind of mandatory face covering are now just seeing explosions in cases. And I'm telling you, in the next 2 weeks, it's going to be headline news. The hospitals are going to be overfilled. There's not going to be room. There's not going to be ventilators, and we're going to be losing people.
Yeah, I think we are. Well, we better move into Chop.
Okay, let's move into the Chop Chaz. So this one I've had a lot of interest in. People are, sending me messages, even on the shows, they're asking about it. For those that are not, we are in the Seattle realm here. Oz is in Olympia, and I am west of Seattle. So we have a lot of connections with the Chop Chaz. So I'm going to give you a breakdown on what's going on tonight. So basically, the mayor, Jenny Durkin, has said that the police will return to the 5th precinct. Is it the 5th precinct? Yeah. They're going to move back in, and I believe that it's going to happen on the 29th, which is Monday. So Monday the 29th, the police are supposed to move back in. So I'm going to let you watch a few clips, and we'll go from there.
Now this is a standalone clip that we only have one cut in this, right? 51 to.
Trey Ray 88. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 52 to 129. Okay, let's see what this guy's got to say.
When this all started, the protesters were up here on Capitol Hill. I live on the south end of the Chop, kind of near 12th and Pike. And the protesters were all up here, for calling to defund police and, reminding everyone that Black Lives Matter. And, so that protest was happening at the East Precinct, which is just right over there. And my whole street that I live on was blocked off and used as the police staging area. So, tons of National Guard, police on bicycles with guns and batons and all that stuff. And, it made me feel a little unsafe to live here when all that was happening.
Well, we're talking to you.
Yeah, that's...
Okay, so we're going to pause this. This is a morning daily show in the Seattle area. It's one of those wannabe corporate bootlicker shows, if you know what I'm saying, Oz.
Yep.
Yeah, she's aspiring to be a corporate bootlicker.
Yeah, well, she looks like it. I love that. What is that, a 90s haircut she has there?
Yeah, I want to say her name is Suzanne Daly or something like that, but I find her very annoying. But the only reason I grabbed onto that clip was because this young man who works for her lives on Capitol Hill. So he lives right in the heart of the Chop and the protests. And I think it says a lot that, he shared those pictures of the National Guard and the police and how he felt living there with the National Guard and the police. Now, I've personally seen interviews with residents that lived in the Chop that say, yeah, they weren't happy about the protesting, but, whatever, they were in their houses ignoring it until the police started releasing, tear gas, and it was filling into their homes. I mean, can you imagine if you're at home in your apartment and all of a sudden it's filling with, tear gas and pepper spray? So they were pissed and they took to the streets to support the protesters.
Well, yeah, they should. I mean, some jurisdictions in other states, they had the National Guard going through and shooting tear gas onto their damn front porch.
Yes.
I'd be a little pissed back. I'd pick up the damn thing and throw it at them, and then they'd probably kill me.
Totally.
So, yeah.
I would too. I think that... Do I do a second clip on this one?
No, I don't think so. I think you go to the King 5 clip.
Okay, so we're going to go to the King 5. I just wanted to point out, how he feels living there.
Yeah, this King 5 is to 155, so it's a little bit longer. Let's hear what this young lady's got to say. She's standing in front of the barricade around Chop, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Good morning. Now that we have some daylight, we're going to push in and give you a look of what it looks like inside the organized protest area. In the morning hours, you'll be able to see those tents that are pitched outside of the East Precinct. When we're talking about this lawsuit that has been filed, they're asking for unspecified damages, and it's about 18 businesses who have filed this lawsuit. They claim it's the city's fault for what's happened in Capitol Hill, resulting in extensive property damage, public safety dangers, and the inability to access certain buildings. The lawsuit claims the city has abandoned the neighborhood, leaving it, quote, unchecked by police, unserved by fire and emergency health services, and inaccessible to the public at large. Now, the plaintiffs say they do not want to undermine the Black Lives Matter message that's being put forth by CHOP, but they do feel they need to hold the city accountable for what has happened. It was back on Monday that the mayor said people should go home, and what we're learning is that some protesters have left, some have stayed, and as you just saw, some have followed in an effort to camp outside of the East Precinct. On your screen right now is a statement that we received from the mayor's office within the last 24 hours about moving forward. What the office is saying is that over the coming days, the city and community organizations, they're going to continue to work with individuals, encouraging them to peacefully depart in the evening for their safety and the community's safety, while also encouraging individuals to peacefully demonstrate across the city during the daytime hours. Now, I've spoken to several people who support the organized protests, asking them what's next, and what they said is it's hard to tell. It's difficult to know, because the way they've explained it to me is the way that the organized protest works is there's not one person or one group who can speak on behalf of everyone or speak on behalf of CHOP itself. But that...
She's quite personable.
Well, yeah, that's why she's on King 5, corporate bootlickers.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Which, King 5 is King 5. That's one of our local, that's our local NBC affiliate. So MBS, BS, right?
MSNBS,
but this is a verified statement from the mayor. So it's not BS. And I wanted you guys to be able to get a look. If you want to go ahead and start the cameras, this is a live look in the CHOP. So at all times, we have live feeds from Jessica Frost, and you can find her on Facebook and follow her. And as you see, she's turned her apartment cameras outside. So we've been watching live what's happening at the CHOP at any time and all time. But to break it down, like she said, now the Chaz means autonomous zone, right? Which means that there is nobody in charge. So who is the mayor asking to be in charge of sending these people home, right? She wants people to come out during the day and protest, and then at night go home. And so I think we have another clip that talks about,
let me see if I can find it. Oh, the Chop clip. This is the real estate clip, right?
Okay, so I found this. This is Seattle Real Estate Podcast. Now, who the hell would think to go to Seattle Real Estate Podcast for news? But I'll be damned if this guy, I mean, you'll find some of it hilarious because he literally says he's talking with Antifa. I would love to know who. But he kind of breaks down what's really going on there with the mayor.
Oh, actually, we have video. It's not just a podcast. He's vlogging it. Okay.
Yeah, he's vlogging it.
Yeah, this is going to run for about 2:30 here.
Hey, everybody. I'm Sean Reynolds, the owner of Silver Properties Northwest, Reynolds & Klein Appraisal, and your host for this episode of the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. So everybody's been talking about CHOP, or formerly known as Chaz. That's the Capitol Hill Occupy protest. And we just came back. It is Wednesday afternoon, about 1:35. And my social media guy, Darian Dunstan, and I went over. We did a live stream from CHOP today because we've had two big videos that have given us a ton of views, and they are CHOP Exposed and CHOP at Night. And we've gotten a ton of, or maybe it was Chaz Exposed, and we've had a ton of activity from those. And after we got through, and I'll talk about the live stream in a little bit, but after we got through with the live stream, like literally after we got through the live stream, I'm walking down a flight of stairs. A guy rides his bike up to me. He's all dressed in black and starts talking to me about what's going on. Because as Darian and I were there, it was noticeable that a lot of the people had already left and that a lot of the stuff was being taken down. And there's just a noticeable change in the atmosphere over at CHOP. So what happened? And so I spoke with a gentleman named John. He is from Antifa, and he basically said that the city of Seattle paid off a handful of the major groups involved with CHOP, involved with the Occupy protest, in the form of a $20 million funding of their budget or budgets. So he is claiming this is a payoff. The city of Seattle will probably spin it as we're funding some groups. And literally, from what I've been reading and doing the research for going over and doing the live stream, is that Jenny Durkin, the Seattle City Mayor, has basically said, yeah, we're working with some black leadership groups and also some other groups involved with the protests, and we're working out some kind of deal. Now, John, the Antifa member, he indicated that the deal got penned yesterday at 3 o'clock. The deal got signed all around with the Occupy protest members that got paid off. And so because of that, the word got.
Yeah,
So we got to the gist of the information on that.
Yeah. What does paid off mean? Does that mean?
Okay, so so he says he talked to some Antifa guy, and this Antifa guy told him that Jenny Durkin has been working with the Black Lives Matter organizers in the area. Now we know that they did have some demands, the leaders that were out there, but there's a few things you need to understand about Capitol Hill and the CHOP and the Chaz. Now this is a predominantly LGBTQ area. They live there, they work there. This is a heavy arts community, a lot of the street fairs, stuff like that. And right now is Pride Month, on top of the fact that it's Pride Week. So this coming Saturday and Sunday in this area, normally we would see big parades and turnouts of what used to be protesters because of the Stonewall and all of the LGBT pride parades activities that they put on during this weekend. So this is going to couple with the fact that we have the Chaz and the mayor trying to push the Chaz to, shut down, people go home at night. So you've got all these different colliding factors going on in the Chaz right now. So you've got LGBTQ and any live stream. I've watched hundreds of live streams out of there. They are down there. They're doing their arts. They're, doing what they do. That's what it is in the summertime on Capitol Hill. Then you have the Black Lives Matter, and they have their list of demands, things they want. There's a couple of old buildings that they want restored and turned into community centers. They want funding for these programs. They have a pretty good list. And I've literally watched live streams from the People's Party, Nikita Oliver's people, where they've sat down with the mayor. 2 weeks ago, I watched a live stream where maybe a small handful of 25 Black Lives Matter organizers sat down with the governor and, her assistants just to talk to them. What do they want? What do they need? That type of thing. So we know that those talks are going on. I'm not really shocked to hear that the mayor thinks that she's just going to buy her way out of this. She's going to implement some programs and then tell everybody to go home, that it's all okay. But the problem is I don't even think even the BLM leaders can get the true protesters out on the streets to pack it in. I mean, some people are there, they want to occupy. So we've been told the police will be back around the 29th, right? That's Monday. They're going to move back into the East Precinct. So I've heard that organizers are telling people to pack up their tents and move back in front of the precinct. So basically, I see another Occupy coming. I see people camping out in front of that police station. They're not going to just let the cops walk right back into that precinct, I don't think. So as much as the mayor thinks that this is all good and well, she's just going to buy some programs and everybody will go home, I don't think it's going to go away that easy.
Well, I know Pasta and Fiorella, the Convo Couch, called me last night, and I have no problem dropping their names because we hold them in high regard. They're on the streets. We do. And they were asking about this, so we wanted to make sure we covered this tonight, which you did so well. I do have a question on this because Pasta and Fee wanted to come up and be part of CHOP. I mean, they were going to fly up and join in, so I'll drop them this link after the show. But do these people that are suing the city, what do you think? Do you think the city is culpable for their lack in business with, going on? Do you think that's their, well, we know it's their right.
You can sue the city if your curb is screwed up, right? You can sue the city if you got potholes in your road. So yeah, I think that they do have some legal standing. And, we've seen the police intentionally not responding to calls on Capitol Hill for the last 3 weeks. So you called that, you knew that was going to happen, and that's exactly. So I had another clip. I don't know. We might have skipped over it, but it was talking about the violence that's happening at the CHOP, right? That's the main reason for wanting to shut this down.
Well, is it the Joseph Sutner clip? I found it started at 4:33. Is it this one right here?
Oh, yeah. Let's finish this out.
Yeah, let's go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I skipped it.
No, shitty engineer. Let me get this going here. 4:33, and you'll have to tell me where to cut it.
Been interesting to see unfold.
We know there have been a couple of shootings within 48 hours of each other. The mayor's talking now about bringing this to a close.
Mm-hmm.
She had said a while back that maybe we'd have a summer of love, and then she's kind of walked that back, and now there's this thought that it would perhaps come to an end. But the question for people who are living there and people who are protesting there is, well, what does that look like? What's your thought about what might unfold?
Well, I will say that once police left the East Precinct that week after that, when police would try and come back, the crowd would just absolutely erupt with anger. They would say, "Get out of here, you don't belong here," just screaming, shouting, lots of anger. And I just don't really know. The mayor says, CHOP is going to come to an end. I just would like to know what that looks like. I'm wondering if they know, because anytime the police has come in here, it has not been pleasant. And, I kind of maybe don't want to be here when that happens. So I'm not sure if they'll be giving us a heads up, like if they're going to, talk with community organizers about what reentry for police looks like, so people that live here, business owners, can kind of have a heads up to prepare for that. I think we're all kind of waiting to hear what that's going to look like.
But I'm curious in terms of just how you feel, if you want to be there for the long haul, or are people talking about moving elsewhere?
Okay, let me cut it. All right, here we go. Cut.
So yeah, no, I think he wraps it up well. They're talking about all the violence that is happening there, but yet time and time again, we know that there's provocateurs. They're Proud Boys. Just because they put black clothes on doesn't make them Antifa. Just makes them Proud Boys in black clothes. What does the integration look like? Will the mayor even lay out a plan for these people? And back to your question about the businesses that are suing Oz, they're suing because they don't get the police response. They're not getting medical aid response. Like one of the guys that was injured at CHOP, who's in the hospital, I think he was shot, is working on a lawsuit because the police did not come in and get him.
Yeah.
He had to be carried out to go meet the police.
Sure.
And, so that really becomes the true question about safety, for these businesses, for these residents that are living there. Schultze, you're absolutely right. This is very, very much so the gay part of the city where lots of theater people live. The Old Seattle Arts is located in the Volunteer Park. So you have so many multiple facets of different things going on here. It's not just BLM. It's not just LGBTQ. And then you've got all of the people that are out of work in Seattle, all of the people that, don't have health care, that are fed up with the system and that has had, their boot on their neck for their whole lives. So it's not going to just go away. I do think that it's probably going to get terrible again. I think when the cops show back up, like he said, when the cops show up, it gets bad.
Yeah.
And I think when the cops go back in there next week, we're going to see a lot of problems again.
Well, I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to cut this clip and send it to Pasta and Fee so they have what we have. Thanks for the report on this. And yeah, a lot of kudos in the chat. Thanks everybody for giving Chanda a thumbs up on this, because she's trying. What?
We had a great comment.
Where?
Snork Y2K says, I just wear black clothes because I'm fat.
You just, yeah.
I said, yeah, me too.
Yes.
So am I Antifa just because I wear black clothes?
Yes. Stripes are my bane. So I just, whatever.
Right.
I kind of look like one of those centipedes with stripes. Anyway, yeah. But that was a good report. So we're right at 59 minutes after the hour. Let's close it out, man. Thanks for the chat, everybody.
You know what? Thank you guys for hanging in there tonight, going down some deep dives with me. I spend 17 to 20 hours a day online researching topics. So, I literally can do a deep dive on anything.
God, get a life, woman. What the hell's wrong with you? Oh, never mind.
Hey, I'm helping you out a lot of times, too.
You are. What do we got going? We got the dive tomorrow. I haven't even written it yet, so I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I'll help you with it in the morning.
Oh, please do. And then hopefully we got No Joke. We got Progressive Washington tomorrow afternoon. They're going to do, what are they doing? They're interviewing tomorrow, Progressive Washington. Let me get the names here, who they've got. They've got 626. Emmanuel Mamo, I-1776 Outreach Coordinator. That's the affirmative action in Washington. And then Jesse Wineberry, former state representative. This is going to be featured tomorrow. I like Jesse. I've talked to him quite a few times. So, yeah, Progressive Washington, that's going to be 2 p.m. Pacific. And then tomorrow night, we got something. Oh, the Natural Progressive. She's going to have Freak Out Friday. She got Christine. She's better. Her butt's better. Her back's better. She got not bucked off of a horse, but she had a little help getting on the horse, and the horse didn't like the help. So the horse threw her. And so she's been recovering all week, but she's going to have a Freak Out Friday tomorrow night, and I think I'm going to join her and freak out with her. Saturday morning, no joke. We got no joke with the Germans, and Marcus should have that show up.
We've missed them.
Yes, we
last week. I'm
have.
excited.
We have. We love our Marcus and Dennis and Chanda. I hope you're going to be on that one too. So we're going to worm our way in and just be there with everybody. And Sunday, maybe something from Larry Taylor, and then it's starting all over again with the beginning.
Well, and then we got Accidental Activist Sunday brunch too.
That's
there
a
was
premium.
some topics today that I didn't touch that I know we talked about on the dive, the convention. There's just no information out there on the convention. The Dems don't want us to have it. Other than a Newsweek article. So I am working on getting you guys info on that. Maybe we'll go into that on
Sunday. The Accidental Activist Sunday is going to be about the coronation of Joey Biden.
The coronation?
Yes. Let them eat cake, everybody. Okay. Well, anyway, shit. I mean, they screwed all the Bernie. I'm glad I didn't run. Glad I didn't go through it because we knew we were going to get stiffed. So.
Well, we know that they're going to do remote satellite cities, meaning that there's going to be multiple cities that they're going to broadcast from. Now, if we can't get to Milwaukee and protest their asses, I say we make a plan to get to all these satellite cities and protest.
Yeah, I think we should get in the streets with this too. This is the antithesis to democracy, and the Democrats are the most culpable because the Republicans might stab us in the face, but the Democrats stab us in the back daily, and they preach democracy, and they don't know what democracy means. So anyway, you too, Tina. You and your clowns up there.
We're coming for you and your little dog too. So you know what, guys? There ain't no power like the power of the people. Get your boots out in the streets. That's the only way we change it. And you know what? Have a great night.
Yeah, having a great night. What is this? Is Carnival? This is
Carnival.
Carnival. Okay. And this gal's
what
got
my eyes have seen.
She has got some lungs on her.
Gosh,
wow.
she can sing.
Wow. Enjoy, everybody. See you tomorrow morning.
I walk these streets, a virtual stage.
Definitely Dido.
It seemed to me, makeup on their faces, actors took their places next to me. I walk these streets in a carnival of sights to see. All the cheap thrill seekers, the vendors and the dealers, they crowded around me. Have I been blind? Have I been lost inside myself and my own mind? Hypnotized, mesmerized by what my eyes have seen. I walk these streets in a spectacle of wealth and poverty. In the diamond market, the scarlet welcome carpet that they've just rolled out for me. I walk these streets in the madhouse asylum it can be, where a wild-eyed Mr. Prophet on a tropic island stopped and he raved to save me. Have I been blind? Have I been lost inside myself and my own mind? Hypnotized, mesmerized by what my eyes have seen. Have I been wrong? Have I been wise to shut my eyes and play along? Hypnotized, paralyzed by what my eyes have found. What my eyes have seen, what they have seen. I been blind? Have I been lost? Have I been wrong? Have I been wise? Have I been strong? Have I been hypnotized, mesmerized by what my eyes found? In that great street